welcome to Tuesday's top tips with your host, Alicia Alt, founder of Level Up Score. I'm super excited for you to be here today because I'm asking you a question. Are you doing these 5 things that are silently destroying your business? I'm going to dive into these 5 things. Trust me, you want to stay with me today so you can learn if you are doing these 5 things, you'll understand that you're quietly destroying your business. And I'm going to show you how to fix that today. So we're going to have some actual steps you can take today to fix these problems. Again, thank you for being here at Tuesday's Top Tips. And I'm really excited to present you this information. So I'm going to share my screen for a slideshow that I've created for you on this topic. So bear with me just a second here so I can bring that up. All right, again, the topic is, are you doing these 5 things right now that are quietly destroying your business? Again, my name is Alicia Alt, founder of Level Up Score. I'm excited to present to you this information. So welcome. Most businesses don't fail because they're bad. A lot of them fail because of small signals that have added up over time. And so if you truly want to be a trusted advisor, someone who, you're asking people for their credit, you're talking to them about their finances, you're talking to them about their future, the way you show up matters more than you think. And that's what I want to dive in today, of these 5 things that you might be doing in your business unknowingly that is destroying the trust in your business and ultimately destroying your business. So again, thank you for being here today. I want to walk you through how professionals, and you can underline the word professionals if you're taking notes, they stop tolerating these things because professionalism now is the new marketing, right? Especially in our industry as credit professionals and financial coaches, our industry needs more professionalism. And people are out there looking for people who are presenting themselves as professionals. This is the new marketing in our industry. And so I want you to think about that as we go into this Tuesday top tip, because this is especially important for our industry. Now, I want to just kind of frame this out for you. This is not about shaming anyone. It's about awareness. Okay. I'm not pointing fingers at anyone. I'm just bringing awareness to our industry and to just professionals everywhere about how you show up and how that matters, and how, if you're doing these 5 things, it's not about shame. It's about awareness. If you're doing these 5 things, hey, you can look at these 5 things and say, hey, this is silently, quietly destroying my business, and what can I do to stop those and correct that? So I'm going to give you those tips on how to do that today. I'm not just going to tell you the 5 things, but I'm going to show you how you can correct those today so that you can establish this very trustworthy professional business that I know each and every one of you want to have with your business. So again, welcome. So I'm going to go into the 5 things. And the number one thing that I want you guys to think about is the negative signals that actually start to deflate trust. And these are things you probably don't even think about, but these are what I call the quiet trust killers. That is using your social media and other outlets to publicly vent. I want you to think about that. Think about your own social media, and are you publicly venting on that? Are you participating in industry drama? Are you doing emotional posting? This using social media as your diary. Are you complaining while selling professional services on your social media or other media outlets? So what do you think about that for a second? Now, I was in a class with Israel Cordova yesterday, and he was talking about, how do we grow our business, right? How do we grow our business? And one of the things that he mentioned, which we all know is obvious, is that social media is a great outlet for growing our business. And so he was presenting this idea of having, 4 hours minimum of content that you produce on social media. And as he was going through that, then he kind of stopped and he said, but before you guys do that, it's really important that you clean up your social media profile, because he said you can produce a lot of great content building trust with someone, and then they're seeing this and they're seeing this, and then all of a sudden you do some kind of negative bull crap, is what he called it, on your social media, and without you knowing it, you've already taken away from the trust that this person has built from all the other good stuff that you posted. People don't want to hear your drama. People don't want to hear negativity. They're already dealing with their own negativity in their lives. They don't need more of it from you, of the person that they're hoping to come to support them, that they can build trust in to get them into a better place. Like, think about that for a second. Now, what Israel did say is if you have to have a social media place where you have public venting and industry drama and emotional posting and complaining about complaining, do it on a social media platform or media platform that is not where you're directly selling to your clients, right? So, Israel Cordova talked about that he's on TikTok. And so TikTok it's only for this purpose, right? And that's where he's able to establish and grow his business. So it's not that you can't do it on another platform. If you want to have emotional drama, let's say on Facebook, but that's not where you sell, go ahead, right? But I would even venture to say that a lot of people cross reference different social media. So you might have an audience that's looking at you on, let's say, TikTok, but then they're also on Facebook and they're also on Instagram, and they're also on this. And if they see you show up in those places with negative posting, right, you can deflate that trust that you built on the platform that you've been really talking to them on. So I would just be careful in general. And, we're all guilty of this in some way, shape, or form because we are emotional beings, but kind of think about this in a different way, in that this is your platform for establishing and building trust and credibility with your clients. So this is like the number one thing that I think we as industry professionals forget about, that when we are posting negative stuff, we're actually deflating the trust from the people that we're trying to get to come into our ecosystem and work with us. Right. So really think about that. So I have an action step for you today on how you can do your trust audit. And Israel Cordova talked about this last night. And I thought, man, this is great content. I think it's great to share on Tuesday's Top Tips. But look at your content today. Go through your content, especially before, if you're not doing any social media marketing, I'm telling you, you need to. But before you do it, just like Israel said, go through your content and delete the negative stuff. Delete the stuff that doesn't fit. You should have a niche, and I've talked about niches forever, but you should have a niche. You should know who you're talking to, and you should know how you're supposed to talk to them, like all the things. And anything that doesn't relate to that needs to come off that platform. And so going through and auditing that and getting off all that stuff. So you might want to look at it as if you were a stranger, if you were a client that would come in and see your content, a potential client, a potential referral source, a potential professional like a financial advisor or loan officer or real estate agent. Remember that when someone refers to us, it's a direct connection to who they are. So a lot of people are very leery about referring because they know that's gonna reflect on them. So know that they're also looking at your social media to see how are they going to reflect, right? So it's really important. I think this is one of the number one things, and it's one of the 5 quiet destroyers of businesses, and that is negative signals that deflate trust. So hopefully you guys will take me up on that offer and clean that stuff up. It's not needed in the professional world, right? So let's look at number 2. Social media is your silent sales rep. And I want you to really think about this. And it kind of relates to number 1, right? Clean it up. No one wants to see your negative stuff. But social media is actually your silent sales rep. And some of you know it's your loud sales rep, right? Because you're out there and you're purposely marketing on social media to get those clients into your ecosystem. But I think we don't realize how many people are actually watching us that aren't engaging, but will later engage because of our social media. So, what I want you to think, kind of frame yourself around, is thinking of social media as being your marketing sales rep, an employee. So, if you had an employee who was posting stuff for marketing purposes, I'm guessing you would be really strict on what that post was, that it actually related to the product or service that you're selling. I'm guessing you would be real strict on how that message is relayed. I'm guessing that you would be real specific to the audience you're speaking to, because you would niche down and you would know what that audience is, what their pain points are, what they need from you. And I'm guessing that everything you post would be directly related to the prospects that you're trying to bring in, pouring in value to them, giving them information, right? Helping them understand what you do, helping them understand that you understand their pain points and that you can help them and you got the journey that's going to take them from where they're at to where they want to be. That is what you would probably have as your SOP for a sales rep. So I want you to think about and put that thinking cap on every time you post. Is this post something that you would have your sales rep do? right? Are they posting about your business? Are they posting about for your audience? Are they posting very valuable information? Like all those things. And if it's not, if it doesn't build trust, if it doesn't elevate your authority, if a lender wouldn't feel confident referring to you, that's not a post you make, right? That's not a post you make. Your post should always be related to what you do and who you're trying to attract into your ecosystem. So be very cautious about this. So this is number 2 of the silent killers, because what I find out so often, and I look at social media constantly because of the nature of the business that I do, but oftentimes we pepper our social media with our sales stuff and then some politics or some negative stuff or an issue that we had today or something else. We're peppering it with all this stuff when in reality, we have just silently started to destroy the trust that we built with our clients. So again, think of your your social media as your sales rep. They have a job, they have a strict job, they have a role to take, they have an SOP to follow, and that it's not an emotional place. It's not your journal. It's not your diary. It's not your venting space. It is a place where you are marketing to your clients. There's other places you can vent. You guys know I have the Millionaire's Journey, and we have journals. Buy one of our journals, get a notebook, write it down in a notebook. Social media is not the place for that. Okay, so that is number 2. Let's move on to number 3. Number 3 is the temporary signals that cost you opportunity. Now, I see this a lot in our industry, and I kind of understand it. We come into this space and we're trying to build a business. We're not putting that cape on that we are an actual business owner. It's almost like a hobby. We're trying this out. We're going to see what happens. But what we end up doing is we end up creating these temporary things, right? And people see that. And so if you really truly want to have a business, we got to follow what other businesses do. So for instance, a professional business would have a website, a working website. Okay. No website equals you look temporary, right? Your website doesn't have to be fancy. It could be a simple website, because here's the thing. Websites, I always call them the brochure of your business. All it does is it gives a high level overview of what the service is you provide. But what it really is, its only sole purpose, in my opinion, is that it lets people know that you are credible. It lets people know that you're an actual business. It keeps you from looking temporary. Okay. The next thing, and this I see all the time, and you guys will hear me because those of you who have been coached with me and you send me an email and it says creditrepair@gmail.com, I'm going to have a conversation with you. Your email address should not end with @Gmail, @Yahoo, @Hotmail, or any of those things. It should have a domain specific email. And I know this costs extra money, guys, but when you have an @Gmail account, you look temporary. It doesn't give out this vibe that you're a professional. Okay. And when you're working in an industry like we are working in, we're working on credit, financials, all this stuff. People are looking for reputable companies. They're giving out private information. They're sharing private information, right? They might be giving you their social security numbers. They might be giving you their identification documents. They might be giving you information about their bankruptcy, private information. And they need to know that you're a legitimate company and you're a professional company. And if you have that @Gmail, it doesn't give that vibe. Okay. And I'm not saying that you are not professional. You could be very, very professional and you're just looking at the dollars and cents. But that is going to cost you opportunities. It's going to keep you at a lower level than other people who take on the role and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to be a professional business. I'm going to have the website. I'm going to have the domain specific email. And then inconsistent branding. If you got different colors over here and here's your logo colors over here, and you don't have, and I see this all the time, you don't have a favicon for your website. You got the little thing that looks like the earth. If you don't have a favicon, that's a big deal, guys. People understand professional businesses have a favicon, and I have a lot of people ask me, well, what is a favicon? Favicon is that little thing up in your browser that identifies what company that browser belongs to, right? So you got the big F, the lowercase f for Facebook. Those are favicons. You need to have that. Your branding needs to be consistent. If your color's purple everywhere. If your color is green, your color is green everywhere. If you use this font, your font is used here everywhere. So having that consistent branding is really important. When you have inconsistent branding, and I know you guys have seen this before, even if you're not doing it, you've seen it on other people's stuff where it's inconsistent branding. Right away, you're like, not very professional. Okay. I went to a person who admires website the other day, and I won't call out names, but I went to their website. Beautiful website. Spelling errors. Guys, you have to look at that branding. Everything that you do is representation of the type of professional you are. So you do a website. Hey, I've done PowerPoint slides. They have spelling errors in it. I get it. I understand it. But have someone come in over top of you and say, hey, I want your job right now is to look for anything that doesn't look right. Right. Because this is really important. Again, the more that you can do this type of stuff, the more you're going to be seen less as a temporary business and more as a really professional business. Because let's be honest, temporary businesses aren't people. I won't refer to someone who looks temporary because it's a direct impact on the way that I might be, right? So you don't get referrals. It's hard to get partnerships. Think about it this way. If I had a partnership with XYZ company and my email said Alicia levelupscore@gmail.com. I mean, how many people are going to think that I'm a legitimate corporation? That I am. They're not going to think that I am. Even if I were, they're not going to think that I am. Those partnerships are not going to happen. Okay. Long-term clients, it's not going to happen. Right. Because they're going to start feeling like, I don't feel like this person's real professional. Right. So it's really, really important that you take out those temporary signals that are costing you opportunities. So here's an action step for this one. I call it the 72-hour professional upgrade. Go get that domain-based email. Get it right now. Make sure you have a working website. And guys, you can't tell me that you're waiting on someone to develop your website. There's AI that'll do it right now today in a couple minutes. So get a working website. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not saying any of this has to be perfect. Okay. It just has to be done. And then clean up your bio. Clean up your professional photos. Make sure you have professional photos, clear professional photos. And if you can't get those, take your image and put it in a good AI like Remy and get some professional photos that way. Because these are so important to your branding and to help you not look temporary. Okay. Have you ever seen a business card with someone's image on it and it's all blurry and it's like, you can tell it's like a snapshot they took in their bathroom? That is not going to give you the professional look that you want. So this is your 72-hour professional upgrade. Get that domain-based email. Make sure you have a working website. Make sure you have clean bio and professional photos. Again, we talked about number 1 and number 2, clean up that social media account, stop posting negative stuff, right? Make sure that your social media is looked at as a sales rep in your organization, not as a journal, a diary. And here's number 4. And this one, a lot of people are guilty of. And I actually have been guilty of it numerous times in my career. But I was working with Alex Hormozian. He said, your free stuff is a representation of how good your pay for stuff is. So low value output equals low value perception. People judge your paid offer by your free material. And this is really important. And I love what Israel Cordova said on his class last night. He said, listen, you need to be pouring out value over and over and over, free value over and over and over again to your consumers. Stop gatekeeping that stuff. Stop giving out free generic stuff that looks like you did it on a Word document, right? You need to have really valuable stuff that you're using, okay? And this goes to the software that you're using. This goes to the deliverables that you're giving. Free stuff doesn't mean good, okay? And so I'll talk about that in a little bit more, but you need to make sure that what you're providing to your consumers, that free material, is high value. Okay. If your free stuff feels rushed or generic, people are going to assume your process is basic. They're going to assume your service is replaceable. They're going to assume that you're not a real big you're not a professional. Again, this is where your typos and your branding and all that stuff is really important. So here's my action step for this one. Upgrade one thing this week. Maybe it's one of your guides. Maybe it's one of your checklists, lists. Maybe it's one of your deliverables. And make sure that whatever it is, it's of high value. If you made a guide and you filled it up with a little bit of information and the rest of it, someone has to click on to pay to get the rest of it, clean that up. Go in there and give them the whole thing, right? So be very careful about providing low value output because you will get low value perception in your business. Okay. Now, here is number 5. Professionals invest before it feels comfortable. Now, what I want to tell you, it's not about you start a business and you go out and you get all these different things that you have to have. You take 100 classes and or you buy them and you don't take them and all this other stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is amateurs, they like to ask stuff like, how do I do this for free? They're looking for all the free resources that they can get to do their job. Professional actually ask a different question, a very different question, and it's, how do I do this right? How do I have, for instance, the best action plans like Level Up Score provides? How do I show my branding the most professional way that I can? How do I have the best website that I can, that I can show that I'm professional? How can I, all of those things. How do I do this right? Not how do I do this free? How do I do this free is having a Gmail account at, levelupscore@gmail.com. That's having it free, right? But how do I do this right? How do I do this right? I need Alicia at levelupscore.com, right? I need to have specific branding. I need to have colors. I need to have fonts, right? I need to have a website that works, those types of things. If you want to charge confidently, you have to show up confidently, right? If you come out and you have all these things put in place, you don't look temporary, your social media is really good, you're pouring out a lot of value, you have high value deliverables that you're giving to your clients and your prospects, there's a whole different level you're put up on. There's a different price you can charge, right? Than the people who were at gmail.com, right? Who are, I had a client of mine who came to me for mentorship. And she also was working with another person for mentorship. And she's like, hey, I'm going to show you what, I'm getting ready to sign up with this person for mentorship. And here's what they gave me, what they're teaching. I just want to make sure that what we're doing together doesn't cross this because I want to, get the biggest bang out of my buck. And I'm like, oh yeah, sure. So she sent me the document of what that person's mentorship was. And it says, to contact me, go to at, blank at gmail.com. And I was like, what? And then the document was very poorly put together. It looked like a Word document. There was no consistent branding on it. And I had to call her up and I said, hey, these are the things this person's teaching you, but they haven't done it yet. They're teaching you how to make a brand, but they don't have a brand, right? And so again, just understanding that how you show up in everything that you do is going to help you or it's going to hurt you. It can silently prevent you from building trust with people and start silently destroying your business, or it can lift you up, elevate you, and put you at a different level, right? And so again, no shaming here. It's just think about all of these things. You have 5 things to look at in your business that could be quietly destroying your business. And I really want you to really look at those and consider those and see, how can I gave you ways that you can do it, but how can I fix this in my business today? So a reflection that I like to give is, what are you tolerating right now that your future self wouldn't? So if you're a business owner and you're looking at all the free stuff, but you see yourself in 5 years as this professional who's doing this, a large amount of clientele, you're really helping people, you're wearing the suit and tie, whatever. But today you're at gmail.com, you're tolerating stuff that your future self wouldn't. So kind of consider that. What are you tolerating right now that your future self wouldn't? Maybe you're using the free thing that's in the software that you have, but it's not real good, high quality stuff. You're just doing it because it's free, right? Would your future self be okay with that? Or is the level of value and service and professionalism that you want to provide to your clients, your future self wants to provide for your clients here and you're over here? Fix that gap, you know? What upgrade have you been avoiding? Is it the domain? Is it having the website, right? What are you delaying and avoiding that could really change things? Again, these are the 5 silent destroyers of your business that you can easily fix right now and really elevate your business and your professional status, give you more credibility, right? Give you more, elevate your business, give you more stature in the industry because you have these simple 5 things put in place correctly so they're not silently destroying your business. So, why this matters, I want to talk to you why it matters in terms of lenders. And the reason I want to do that is because I am a lender and I work with a lot of you, but also because a lot of you out there want to or are working with lenders, loan officers, mortgage loan officers, funders, banks, commercial real estate, all of these people. And what I want you to know is they're looking for professionals to work with. Remember, I told you, like, if I'm referring to you, um, you're a direct reflection of who I am. That's how the consumer sees it, and I know that because I've seen that. I've had to fire people who refer to me because their referrals, the consumers that they refer to me thought I was the same as that person. That person wasn't doing something good, right? And so it's really important that you understand that. So lenders don't want fixers, guys. If you're that credit fixer, we aren't looking to partner with you. We're not looking for fixers. We actually want people who partner with us as readiness partners. Like, they're helping our clients become ready for the object or goal that that consumer is wanting to get, right? And we want predictability, and we want, most importantly, professionalism. Remember, I told you the loan officer, the real estate agent, all these people, these commercial funders, they have to go through a lot of classes and schooling and continuing education. They have to be, like a loan officer has to be, fingerprinted. Their credit report has to be pulled. If they have credit issues, they can't be a loan officer, right? Their social media accounts are looked at. So tell me right now if you've seen a loan officer post a bunch of negative stuff on their platforms. It's very rare that you'll see that. They're being scrutinized in every way, shape, or form. So they also expect that of the people that they refer to, right? It makes a lot of sense. But sometimes I think we don't think about it. Just like I think we don't think about social media as a sales rep, opposed that it's just a platform where you get to talk to people, right? Really, really thinking about that and changing how you view how you're doing business. I like how Israel Cordova said it last night. He said, stop thinking that you are a credit repair organization and start thinking yourself as an owner of a company, the CEO, right? You're going to require a lot more out of yourself at that point. So I want to segment that into my class for Friday. So by popular demand, I am bringing back that class that I did a couple weeks ago called Stop Being a Fixer, Become a Borrower Readiness Partner with Lenders, Loan Officers, Mortgage Professionals, commercial lenders, all of those. So how do you do that? That's what that class is going to be. That's this Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. It is live. It is free. I'm going to pour a lot of value into it, just like I did a couple weeks ago. If you were on a couple weeks ago, feel free to jump on again. It's free. Last time I did give some assets to everyone who attended. This time I will also give the replay to everyone who attended, plus the assets. However, if you do not attend the live, you will not get a replay. So I'm not sending out the replay right away. What I am actually going to be doing with it is creating it into a course at which you can take that course. Okay, so just bear with me as I put that together after that live. But that live will be on February 2nd. February 6th. That's this Friday at 2 p.m. You'll see that QR code in the screen. That'll allow you access to register for that class. You do have to register. But I'm really excited to speak on this again and pour in more value. I think I have it scheduled as an hour-long class. I will tell you that the last time we did it, we were on for a lot longer than an hour. It's a really fun interactive class. I'll kind of teach in the beginning, open up the interaction because I want you to get the most you can out of this class. As a loan officer myself, I need you. I need borrower readiness partners really bad. And so if I need it, then I know other loan officers need it. And I'm been in this industry for a long time and I talk to them all the time. So I know they need it too. But they are leery about having a credit professional work with them because they're not sure that they're going to be borrower readiness partners. And so my offer to you is you take this class. You'll be able to understand what a borrower readiness partner is for a loan officer. And then I am going to make that into a course. And some of those people that I talked to on the last live, those courses will be available to you for a certification that you will be able to use to market to loan officers. And this is going to be huge. I've already talked to hundreds of loan officers about this program, and they are absolutely excited to see that people can get certified in this, that they can then be on my platform as certified credit professionals that are borrower readiness partners. So that's my offer to you. So I do recommend you clean out your schedule, get on that call at 2 p.m. on this Friday, and make sure you're there and take notes. Okay. Again, you will get the replay on this, those that are on live. If you register and you're not there, you're not getting the replay. I just want you to know that only the people that are live. And the reason for that is because you don't get the context as much as if you're in the group with us and you're participating and you're understanding it. And I know that for a fact because I've done a lot of courses where I've watched the replay and I didn't get as much out of this I could have had it been on the live. So you do need to be on the live to get the replay. But I'm really excited to do this again. I got a lot of flack last time for telling you guys such late in advance and then jumping in and doing the class and so many people not being able to attend. So hopefully I've given you enough warning because I did talk about this even last week. But that is this Friday. That's February 6th at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Use that QR code to register. You do need to be registered, and I'll see you there. Thank you for being at Tuesday Top Tips. Hopefully I'm pouring in a lot of value to help you grow and scale your business and become the credit professional that everyone's out there looking for. Thank you for being a success boss here with Level Up Score. If you have any questions, you can always reach back to me. I appreciate you and have a great Tuesday.